Sit with me for a second. We're going to talk about something today that, well, most adults are never going to explain to you. You're smart, and I know you're ready to understand the hidden operating system of how the world actually works. Today's explainer isn't about memorizing a bunch of dates for your history class. No, this is an insider's guide to human nature. You know those history textbooks, right? They show these Renaissance masters like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael as these harmonious saints holding hands to light up human civilization. Well, let's just drop the curtain on that sanitized myth right now. The hidden reality is that they absolutely could not stand each other. We are talking about intense 16th century workplace drama, vicious trash-talking, and petty rivalry that mirrors any feud today. They weren't just painting beautiful pictures. They were competing for survival, prestige, and dominance.
So, let's get into it. Round 1. The street duel.
To really get this, you gotta picture 16th century Florence. It was a total pressure cooker of talent. And look at the complete difference between our two main guys here. You've got Leonardo da Vinci. He's in his 50s, super elegant, famously handsome, and literally working in a cloud of fine perfume. And then you have Michelangelo. He's in his 20s, a brilliant but messy lone wolf with a notorious temper who worked in these unwashed clothes and boots until they literally stank. They were polar opposites, and all of Florence knew they were bitter enemies. Yet the city government, in this wild move of calculated instigation, deliberately pitted them against each other.
Imagine your teacher taking the two students in class who just completely despise each other and forcing them to share a tiny desk for the biggest final project of the entire year. That was Florence. These guys were commissioned to paint massive murals in the exact same room, face to face, just constantly watching each other and constantly trying to outdo each other.
And of course, this tension spilled right out into the streets. Da Vinci is walking through the city one day, and a group of citizens politely asks him for his interpretation of a poem. He defers to young Michelangelo, who just happens to be walking by. But Michelangelo, who's super insecure and defensive, thinks he's being mocked. He just explodes in front of everyone, screaming, "You explain it. You, who designed a bronze horse, couldn't cast it and gave up in disgrace." Then he just storms off, leaving the elegant Da Vinci standing there completely pale with embarrassment.
Now, Da Vinci didn't just let that go. Unable to win a screaming match in the middle of the street, he took his revenge in secret. In his private diary, he wrote this incredibly passive-aggressive entry. He said, "Sculpting is mechanical, sweating, and covered in marble dust like a baker. Painters sit elegantly in fine clothes with music playing." Think about that. Even the greatest mind of the Renaissance went home and wrote angry, salty diary entries to cope with a younger rival. That frustration you sometimes feel when someone shows you up? Yeah, that is universally human.
Which brings us to round 2. The rookie's playbook.
So while the older master and the angry sculptor are busy tearing each other apart, a 21-year-old kid named Raphael enters the board. This guy was charming, and he possessed astronomical emotional intelligence. He didn't bother fighting them directly. Oh no. Step 1, he bribes an architect to get into Michelangelo's fiercely protected, locked workspace in the Sistine Chapel. Step 2, he secretly copies those groundbreaking techniques. And step 3, he instantly downloads those stolen muscle lines and dynamic tension to upgrade his own art, basically overnight.
Well, when Michelangelo found out, he had an absolute meltdown. He completely raged, screaming, "He knows nothing of art. Everything he knows, he stole from me." But you know what? Raphael had already won. He totally bypassed all the emotional drama and simply extracted the raw value of his rival's hard work.
And Raphael wasn't just a copycat. He was a literal master of psychological warfare.
In his absolute masterpiece, The School of Athens, he painted all the great philosophers using the faces of his contemporaries. So he honors Da Vinci by painting him as the revered philosopher Plato right in the center. But he paints Michelangelo as the grumpy philosopher Heraclitus, this isolated loner sitting all by himself on the steps, wearing those notoriously unwashed boots. It is the ultimate historical troll. He publicly honored one and permanently immortalized the other as a smelly outcast.
So, why does all this 16th century drama matter to you today? Look, I didn't tell you this story just to share some ancient gossip. I'm telling you this because there is a profound underlying truth here about human nature, and specifically about your own nature.
Listen to me closely on this one. Human greatness is not born in a peaceful vacuum. It is forged in the fires of rivalry. If Da Vinci hadn't been threatened by Michelangelo's raw power, he might never have pushed the delicate details of the Mona Lisa to such crazy extremes. If Michelangelo hadn't been furious at Raphael, he wouldn't have pushed his own boundaries to prove he was the undisputed master. Without that toxic drama, that street shouting, and that bitter urge to not be outdone, these civilization-defining masterpieces simply would not exist.
Which brings us to a feeling you probably know very well, even if you don't really like to admit it. Jealousy. Society tells you you should be ashamed of it, right? Well, I am telling you to listen to it. Jealousy is basically a biological radar. When you feel that awful knot in your stomach because a classmate got a better grade or someone else has a skill you lack, it's not a moral failing. It is a highly sensitive instrument pointing directly toward the exact greatness you deeply want for yourself. This right here is the insider secret I want you to walk away with from this explainer. This is how you weaponize that feeling. First, identify the rival who annoys you the absolute most. Second, look past your annoyance and pinpoint their exact superpower. What is it they do better than anyone else? Third, stop getting angry at them. Start observing them. And finally, be like Raphael. Secretly download their strength to upgrade yourself. You don't have to be their friend, but you can absolutely use their excellence as a cheat code for your own rapid growth.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Who is your biggest rival right now? You know, the person who gets under your skin just by succeeding. And way more importantly, what exact superpower are you going to secretly download from them tomorrow? Most people let competition make them bitter, but now you know the hidden operating system. Let it make you brilliant.